Hello everyone, Dave Olender here with Olender LLC. I'm an independent Epicor consultant and I do a lot of reporting, but I do BPMs and customizations and admin functions, copying live over to test or pilot or, that. All right, so I'm here to give you to show you a scenario where you're getting an error message. You've just upgraded from, let's say, 10.1.500 to 10.1.600 or 10.1.600 to 10.2.100, and you're getting an error message. And it's either a 1024, you've got too many columns in one of your report labels, tables, or you're getting a calculated field missing. Those seem to be the most common ones I come across. And yes, you could go through this iterative process of trying to figure out which labels can you remove. I found it's better just to rebuild the RDD. The problem with rebuilding the RDD is what fields were added and what fields were taken away. There's no obvious way to figure that out, to find that out. And the sync dataset button is don't use that. Or let me rephrase that. As of when I created this, which is December 22nd, make sure you have a backup before you try it. So it can and will wreck the AR invoice form. So, and that's what I'm going to be playing with here today. We're demonstrating. So what I've done was let's go into the AR report style, and it's an invoice, so of course it starts with A for AR invoice form, and you can see I created a data definition here, and now normally if I got this error message and I was at a customer site, what I would do is I would change this. I would go to the standard SSRS. I would do an open with data definition. I'm not going to do that because the system's kind of slow that I'm on. But basically duplicate the RDD. You want to take the base form. Okay, I will do it. Maybe it'll go quicker than it has in the past. I suppose I could always stop and start the video, but let's see how long this actually takes. This is one of the biggest. The AR form is one of the biggest, and so that wasn't so bad. All right, so let's duplicate it. Okay, I'm going to call it AR form demo 2. Put that right there. Again, we have to wait for it to write all the tables and fields, and there's a bunch. Well, you can see there's 22 tables. I'll pause the video here maybe. All right, so that finally finished, and let's change the base definition to SQL Server. I don't think you have to do that, but I do because this is an SSRS application. May as well just set it. All right, so normally I would open this up and say, okay, let's go into the table and let's add some fields, but I don't know what fields to add, right? This is a base definition. Let's say you came into the situation blind. So we created the demo 2. let me get out of there. Let's refresh this. And let's go to, I don't see it. I may have to go out and come back in. Let's do that. Air form. There's my demo style. There it is. Demo 2. All right. So I set it for demo 2. And yeah, that's, yep. All right. Set it for demo 2. So now let's try to run an invoice. Remember, all we did there was we copied the base data definition over, gave it a new name. So what you need to do to add fields, right? All right, so let me pick an invoice. I'll pick any, just it doesn't matter. Just pick an invoice. Print it. I'm going to use the demo style, and let's try to preview this. It's going to say, aha, they completed, but there was an error. Let's make sure I'm on the most recent one. So if we look at the details, and if you look closely, like right here, you'll see it's telling us column name, our order quantity, our ship quantity, product code, and project ID are missing. So, but here's the thing. This is the only system I've been on where it's actually done that for me. Every other system I've been on, it'll just give you a generic message. It'll say AR form query error or something. It doesn't give you the specific column names. Now on this system it did, and I mention it because you should check here first. This is the easy button, right? You're going to come here and you're going to say, okay, there's my 4 fields. If I add those 4 fields, the report should be fine. So, but let's take this one step further and assume that it doesn't show those fields. Then what do you do, right? All right, so this is what I would recommend doing. And please, if you've got another way of doing this, don't be shy about adding comments to the field. So so what I would recommend doing is going into the SSRS itself. I'm in the pilot environment here. Let me go to the details view. Go down to custom reports, and there's my demo. And so, and you know what? I'm going to go through this. I already did this, so I kind of cheated a little bit, but I'll go through it just for you guys. So let's go to the this is the root folder, right? The ERMC pilot, and then I want to go to the AR invoice form. There it is, and let's go into Report Builder. I could have downloaded and uploaded this also, by the way, but I just chose to do it this way. I'm going to do a save as, and then I'm going to put this into, it's the custom reports. Here's my demo folder, and I'm going to call it Airform Base. So I'll overwrite the one that's there. All right. So then navigate back to custom reports and AR invoice form demo, and let's take the AR form, go to manage, and let's rename that. We're just going to call it original, right? And then I'm going to take the base, and let me just make that AR form. All right, so now we have a base report data definition in RDD and the base AR form. So we should be able to preview this now. Let's give it a try. So we're going to print demo. Let's do the preview. Okay, so yes, we got the preview. So that's important because we're going to use the GUID that was created by that, right? So, and by the GUID, maybe I'm saying it wrong, GUI ID, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, but if I go back to the reports here, you can see here's my latest, and by the way, this file name is usually way over on the right. If you look for it, it's usually way over here, right after printer name. Oh, I'm sorry, after this render format. So I just grab the column and move it over, right? So if yours doesn't look like this, you know how I got here. So, and then what I do is I open up the field name, so you got enough room. And if you just double click on this space, see that it just highlights that whole string for you, and then you can copy that. So next I'm going to swing over to the SSMS, right, which is the SQL Server Management Studio. I'll log in. I'm in the Pilot Reports database. And even though you don't have to do this, I do it just out of, I think, more out of habit. You can see there's a bunch of tables here. These are all the tables that are created when anybody prints something in Pilot. But we only want to see the printout that we did. And so you go into the filter, and then in the contains value, paste in your GUID. And that's going to filter, it's going to restrict to, these are all the tables that were included in just that one printout, right? Because they have this long, I don't know, what is it, 32 characters? I don't know, the big long GUID that's associated with every one of the tables that's created for that printout. So, all right, you know what? I skipped ahead there a little bit. Sorry about that. Let's go backwards just a little bit. So, if I come back to our original form and we go into the report builder, then let's pick the AR form, go to the properties, go to the formula button, and usually what I do is just put the cursor anywhere in there, do a Control A and then a Control C. For Control A is select all, Control C is, of course, copy. So then I'd like going over, I use Notepad++, you can use whatever text editor you like, and go ahead and do a Control V, V as in Victor, and paste that whole select query in here. And so then the next thing I would do is I would go into the system monitor, let's grab that GUID again, and then look for the from. You want the from is where you start to define all the tables that were included. And there's some, they basically, you can see what Epicor is doing here. They're using a variable to add the GUID to the end of whatever the table name is. So in this case, it's INVC head, and then underscore, and then they're adding the GUID. So we want to replace that. So we go to search, replace, and I'm going to paste in my GUID and then say replace all. So you can see what it did to the string now. It's now from invoice and out. And now you don't want to make this permanent because it would only read this one instance, right? But for setup and testing purposes and for what we're trying to debug, this works perfectly. Bruce Browning showed me this trick, by the way, so thank you, Bruce. All right, so once we've replaced all of the GUIDs with, or the string, the concatenation formula with our GUID, then let's do that same old trick. Do a Control A and then a Control C, and then let's see. Let's go back to our SSMS. We're on the pilot database. Let's say we want a new query. We're going to paste in that whole select query, but we have to modify it slightly because the syntax is slightly different. So we don't need the equal or the quote. And down here, we don't need the quote at the very end. So then you just execute, and bingo, here we go. So now if you want, you can copy this, paste it into Excel, and then just filter by name, and you're going to get all the invalid columns right off at the top. But here you can see that we're missing our order quantity, our ship quantity, product code, and project ID. It's like, okay, all right, well, and this string could be, you know, maybe you have 100. I don't know. But so the next thing I would do is let's go back to our report style. Let me close that print invoice. Some of those windows are modal, by the way, so you have to be a little careful about leaving those open. All right, so let's go into our demo 2. I'm going to right click on the data definition. We're going to bring that up again. And while that's happening, I suppose I could go over to here and show you. Actually, I don't need to be here. No. Let me go to here. All right. So let's do a search for one of our first fields, and that's going to be our order quantity. All right. So at least in this case, all of my fields are right next to each other. So here's our order quantity. Here's the ship quantity, product code, and project ID. They're all here. But they have this kind of weird prefix to it, the T2. Now the T2 is called an alias, and the alias is just another way of referring to a table without using the full table name. So you can see I could replace this T2 with this whole invoice detail GUID blah blah blah. But if you go space T2, then you just use T2, and it makes for shorter code. So that's what the T2 means. So why did I take you here? Because it showed us that our order quantity was missing, but what table is that part of? You can see there's a number of tables here. There's an invoice head, there's an invoice detail, field service call detail, field service call MT. I'm not sure what the maintenance is. Maintenance? I'm not sure. Anyways, there's a number of tables here. So how do you know what table we're going to find this field under? Well, it's under T2, and T2 is related to invoice detail. So now all of these fields are in T2. So we now have a target. We have a clearly defined path. So let's go to that data definition. Let's open up the data source. It's invoice detail. Again, this takes a while to update. I'm not sure why it's so slow. There it is. And let's go to exclusions. And let's find, it's in the O's. Here we go. Here we go. Our order quantity, our ship quantity, and product code and project ID. So let's save that. Okay. And let me close out of this. Let me minimize that. We're still pointing to demo 2, but we need to come over here because remember we changed the names. So let's change them back. Make this base. And I'm going to take my original, go to manage, and we'll just rename that to air form. All right, so if we've done this right, Fingers crossed. Let's try to print this now. Demo, preview, survey says, there it is. So the beauty of doing this is you don't really need to modify your SSRS report at all. This was a pure RDD, report data definition fix. So it's kind of all the stuff behind the scenes. So if you've done any layouts for APM, the doc link kind of stuff where you want to make sure stuff doesn't get shifted or moved, this is a good way of doing it. So anyways, that's pretty much it. I'm closing things down, and hopefully this is helpful to you on how to start with a new RDD in SSRS without guesswork. And again, if somebody has a better way of doing this, please add some comments to the video and let us all know. I just know this was work for me, and it's a fairly quick way of finding out what fields you need to add because they could be sprinkled all over. The only kind of downside to this is what I showed you will only print the base form, right? I didn't go into any of the subreports and look for fields that may have been added there. So, and you'll have to do those manually. Again, the same basic technique, right? You can do the exact same technique and use the SSMS to have it tell you which ones. But at least the report will print now. And you may get a subreport error if there are fields there that were missing, and you'll have to add the fields into your subreports. But same basic technique, and hopefully this helps you out. So, well, thank you for watching the video, and as I said, please don't be shy. Don't be afraid to add comments to the video, and if you've got a better way, please let me know, and I'll either update this video or do a new one, and maybe show you some other alternates. So again, it's Dave Olender with Olender Consulting, and my number is 651-246-3281 if you're interested. And yeah, well, thanks again.